Hi everyone. Hi. We have just seen a lovely video about Jonah. There's a whole book in the Bible about Jonah if you ever want to go in and have a look at it. Today we're going to look at the story of Jonah and what happened to him when he ignored God. Now, Jonah was a prophet of God and he loved telling the Israelite people all about God and the messages that God wanted them to hear. And he loved doing that. And sometimes the Israelite people listened to him and sometimes they ignored him. And Jonah didn't like being ignored. Nobody likes being ignored, really, do they? But Jonah did not like being ignored. One day, God said to him, Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh. So this place, Nineveh, that God had asked Jonah to go to, was in a place called Assyria. And Assyria were the enemy, basically, of the Israelites. So Jonah did not want to go. He was not up for it at all. He was a bit like, oh, do I really have to go there, God? And God said, yes, I want you to go there. I want you to go there because the people of Nineveh are not living the way that I want them to live. They're hurting themselves. They're causing themselves pain. And I want you to go there and I want you to give them my message. Now, Jonah, not up for it at all. So he was scared. He didn't want to make the long journey that was going to take him to get all the way over to Nineveh. So he decided that he would ignore God and he would run away. And so instead of getting on a boat to Nineveh, he gets on a boat and he goes in the other direction, away from Nineveh, because he thought that he could run away from God. So Jonah's on the boat with all of these sailors and other people, and all of a sudden a big wind comes up and massive waves and a huge storm. Okay, I don't know if you've ever been in a storm, but it's pretty scary sometimes, isn't it, with lightning and thunder. And if you're on the sea and there's a big storm and there's massive waves and loads of wind, I can imagine that'd be quite scary if you're in a little boat. So Jonah's on this boat. All the people on the boat, all the sailors on the boat, they don't worship God like Jonah does. They've got their own gods. So what they decide to do is right, we're going to pray to our own gods. But obviously that doesn't work. So Jonah knows that he's responsible for the storm. Jonah knows that because he decided to run away from God, God has sent the wind and the storm and the waves to remind Jonah of the job that he is supposed to be doing for God. Okay, because he's one of God's prophets. So God sends all of this and Jonah's there and he's scared and the sailors are scared and the winds and waves are crashing around. And Jonah has to say, right, okay, you've got to throw me overboard. Okay, because Jonah knows that that's the only way that God will calm the storm. So Jonah has to get off the boat. So he insists with the sailors, you've got to throw me overboard, because they don't really want to. They don't want to take Jonah and chuck him overboard because they don't understand everything that's going on. They think they're just, Jonah's like, why do you want us to throw you overboard? But Jonah insists. So they do. They get him, throw him overboard. All right, off he goes. And once Jonah is in the water, the wind and the waves all calm down, which is great. Then God sends a fish, a very, very big fish, and that very, very big fish swallows him. Now, in the fish's stomach, Jonah is sitting there, and he spends 3 days and 3 nights inside the fish. And because the fish is very quiet inside, and there's no noise and there's no wind and no rain, Jonah has 3 days and 3 nights to think about what's happened and what he's done. And in that quiet time, he realizes that he has to go to Nineveh and that he should be doing what God has asked him to do. So after the 3 days and 3 nights that Jonah has been inside the fish spits Jonah out. And Jonah then goes to Nineveh. When Jonah spoke to the people of Nineveh, they listened. They changed the way that they lived and they turned to God. Anyone else would have been delighted that God's message had been received by the people of Nineveh and that they'd heard it and they'd acted upon it. But Jonah just wanted God to destroy Nineveh because he still thought of the city as the enemy. So he didn't really want them to be saved, did he? God had other ideas. Nineveh had heard the message that had been relayed by Jonah. and they'd taken the second chance that God had given them. And isn't it wonderful and how amazing it is that God wants to save everyone? I hope you enjoyed the story today, kids and grown-ups. I hope you're all doing well in lockdown, and I hope you're all being able to get out and do some things now that things starting to get a little bit easier. I'm looking forward to going to the hairdressers at some point, because as you can see, my hair's going a little bit crazy. I'm letting it go all curly now, which is its natural way. But I'm wondering if there's been some fabulous lockdown haircuts. I hope you're all well, guys, and looking forward to seeing you at some point in the future. Take care. Bye.